Hello. My name is Casey. And this is the Time Machine Rave. Well, hello. Very, very smoky foggy in here. It's fog, actually. It's fog. It's London fog that has entered a warp dimension to make its way into this room here. So don't blame me. Blame the UK people. Anyway, how you doing? Good to see you tonight. Yeah, I've got some lasers on my head. Just normal shit, you know. The normal shit people do. They put lasers on their heads sometimes. It's okay. We'll deal with it. Yeah, it's really small. Hold on. I'm imagining this like a cartoon, but I bet it's not going to work that well. There we go. This camera, the second camera is clearer. Should I like do this? Hi. No, that'll be bad for my back. Anyway, good to see you all here on Friday night. It's Friday night in Los Angeles, and we are celebrating acid house, acid techno, acid breaks, acid Goa breaks, like where we're at right now with Prana. But we got lots more to come tonight. Cosmic Seeds, what is up? Good to see you. Poon, how are you? Welcome. Why do I worry? What is up? Charles Boynton, welcome, welcome. DJ Q-Tube in the house. Good to see you here. Peter Shaw, welcome. Amy K, thank you, yeah. It's just 3 rubber bands and 3 lasers on my head. And when it's coupled with a smoke machine, that's an important factor. Looks pretty amazing. Ken the Saul in the house, DJ Ken. What is up? Can't believe I still can't see anything yet. Still. Yeah, I guess I overdid it, but if I'm wearing lasers on my head, I want to overdo it with the fog anyway. I just was hoping we could clear the air between us, as it were. Anyhow, let's get into this acid for the second time today. K-Spot in the house. How you doing? Yeah, I would sit down even if you don't need to. Why do I worry? It's just fun to sit down. I do it all the time, just never on the stream. But here we go. Getting into this shit, because welcome to the rave. your soul for things you never got to be. The lights, the sounds, the tears that stain your cheeks. And if I had anyone to drive this car but me, well, maybe you'd still be around. Maybe you'd never have to leave. As you climb back down the tree, the fights, the joy, the tears that flow for weeks. And if I had anyone to drive this car but me, well, maybe you'd still be around. Maybe you'd never have to leave.
And if I had anyone to drive this car but me, well, maybe you'd still be around. Maybe you'd never have to leave.
cool as the deep blue ocean. I am lost, so I am cruel, but I'd be love and sweetness if I had you, 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 you. If I had you.
Waiting It's been a cold day since the first time you were a lonely child. You were a friend of mine. To me, you make me lose my mind.
Well, I think it's long overdue that I welcome some people. But yeah, these lasers kind of like make it more difficult to do the stream. I'm shocked. I don't know why, but they're kind of distracting. But so that means I'm not going to do this every night, but tonight I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to try to welcome some people, but my chat is freaking out here, giving me a bunch of weird messages from Restream and clogging it up. So if I miss anybody, let me know. Hoon, Amy K, Charles Boynton, I think I said hi to y'all already. Cosmic Seed, DJ QTube as well. Who else? Donut is in the house. Good to see you. Nintendo Cereal's in the house. Good to see you. And I think that's it for the moment. I try to spell the track titles exactly how they're spelled as closely as possible, but I'll make some mistakes probably. Cesar, how you doing? Jose Membrane, how are you? Good to see you. Remember, welcome back. Good to see you. I'm letting my smoke machine rest for the moment, so we'll see if it turns back on after a little resting. I learned that little trick from being a human, because sometimes when I don't work so well, I have to rest. So I'm applying that same human concept to my smoke machine. Let's hope it works. Marion, how you doing? And if I miss you, let me know, but thank you for being here, and welcome to the radio. Jeffrey Fabian, back from Korea. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Coco Chanel, how are you? Welcome back. I gotta scroll through, see who I missed. But yeah, Jeffrey, I had this whole laser headset thing going on in the beginning, but Smoke Machine crapped out. And it was really expensive. It was like $20 for the Smoke Machine, so I thought it would last forever. Charles Karaoke, VDJ, welcome back. M Ninja 4th in the house. Ego Trip. Jared Bridge. How are you? And thank you. And that goes to all of you. Thank you. Sadika is here? Where? Oh, there she is. What's up, Sadika Zooter? The Smoke Machine? No, it wasn't unhealthy. I looked it up. It's fine. You know, I smoked heroin for like 10 years, so I think a little Smoke Machine juice is fine. So, off of tinfoil, of all things. Like, if anything's gonna kill me, it's that. But let's all hope I don't go quite yet, because I have a lot more acid to play right here on the Time Machine Rave. Anyway, good to see y'all. Hope you're having a good night. And welcome to the rave. this now because we're talking about Tron, and it involves my childhood. And yeah, I grew up watching that movie. I loved everything about it when I was a kid. Upon watching it as an adult, it's like, yeah, it's kind of a dumb movie, but it still means a lot to me. I was watching a YouTube review, like a retrospective of the original Tron, and both of them agreed, like, yeah, it's not a very good movie. This sucks. And I had to, like, stop and be like, does it suck? But they brought up some valid points about structure and story and stuff, but I will always love Tron. One day I'll have one of those full Tron suits to wear on the stream. Oh, Kenneth, what's up? I didn't know if you were going to stream tonight, but yeah. I'll start wrapping up. Marion, how you doing? Welcome to the rave. And yeah, Ken, I was about to see the new Tron, and then I saw a billboard with Jared Leto on it, and I was like, no, thank you. Not trying to join no shitty cult. If I'm gonna join a cult, it's gonna be way better than fucking Jared Leto's cult. Commentary over.
begins with a kiss. Run if you want to, run around the world. Run if you want to, without wings, without wheels. Run if you want to, run around the world. Run if you want to, without anything but the love we feel.
Well, here we are. Sorry, I went a little over, Ken. I had a thing I wanted to do in my head, but yeah, that was fun. That was B-52's Rome, and they let me play it because it's before the 2-hour mark, I think. So glad that went through. But thank you so much, and Kenneth Saul, DJ Ken in the house. He's up next. Let me put that link in the chat so y'all can attend the after hours with the lovely Kenneth Saul, DJ Ken on the decks. Always a fun time. Raver Industrial Complex is Tomorrowland. I like that, Kenneth. And I'm not going to lie. If they booked me, I would play Tomorrowland. Maybe if I was like 25 and it happened, I'd be like, no, fuck you. But like today, like, yeah. I'd want, number one, that would be cool to be paid to do that. And number two, that would, even if it's not a great festival altogether, that would be an experience just to be behind the scenes and all that. I would love that part of it. But yeah, I don't really go to raves anymore myself. Although that could change if I get booked to play a rave. I will absolutely go to that rave. But thank you, everybody. Charles Boynton, music dorks are absolutely welcome. There's no correct way to listen to music. There's lots of talent at these mega raves. Absolutely lots of talent. But like, it's just, it seems like these things go on for the wrong reasons. And back in the day, it was like $20 to get in, and the guy who's putting it on is standing over there, and you kind of know him already. You know, it was like a lot more community oriented. Now it's just like, 7-Up presents, rave. It's like, that's not why I got into this. Anyway, thank you all so much. Put that link there. Okay, yeah, if you like what you heard today, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on Twitch, check out the Patreon link. It's in both descriptions. It's only $2 a month to become a member, and you get access to exclusive mixes every Sunday. This upcoming Sunday is going to be a mix dedicated to Rabbit in the Moon, one of my favorite producers, outfits, bands, whatever you want to call them. So I'm looking forward to that. So check out the Patreon link. And yeah, let's head on over to Ken's, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time for Weekend Warehouse Wisdom. And, yeah, almost a little over 12 hours from now, we'll be rocking again, Hoon. But thank you, everybody, and I will see you all next time in the Time Machine Resident. Until next week, you know, what the fuck? It's more of a, like you're reaching.
Yeah. Like you're reaching. Like you're reaching. And we're never going. He is ground for a purpose. And currently, we don't really know the purpose yet. But the systems will be scanned. The revolutions will continue until all we see is red and purple and green. I don't know if you were supposed to read this. I don't know if you were supposed to find this. But there's a stack of magazines behind the building. You've seen them there. That's where he put the cash. Right there, right in public. The public. On the way home, I saw a dog on the side of the road. And in his eyes I could feel something different. Like he was a person. And this was his punishment. Maybe this is where we go. To be punished. But until they fix the door, I think I'll stay out of it. And step over the aisle into your side. But whose side? Whose side are you on? What if there's no sign? trying to lead us down. Into the repeat. 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 Into the
Hello? Yeah? Oh, hi. No, I got your message. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I think we should do that first thing in the morning.
don't